May last year, Ena Nkrofo year Eka say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama also call for third term. But now Eka say Dabi, I don't support that move. And you guys know why I said I don't support that move. But still, in fact, ebe call so my parliament krano na Nkrofo Eka say was say Mahama will call for third term. Na mesanso mamoti asiye say I have heard from sources are close to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na yere the first lady. Our first lady ne Catherine Crawford say womunyai na enya de obepene ama Mahama akọ. This time around, sa akọ no abafom. Na I don't know, but still it is in the heart of people say was say Mahama will call for third term. And the NPP for journalists be a friend no Ken Crunchy. Obi a wonim NPP bia wonim Ken Crunchy bia nim. In fact, in 2012 election petition, you know, he became popular because he was cited for contempt. What you say? Now, or MPP ni, I don't know since here there was a political party there, but and there, Ken Crunchy drag His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to Supreme Court. We baby say DNT. Ken Crunchy se mo work and say Mahama wo pe won pe o third term ne de e was oko. Hey, I say third term no Mahama or you eligible e was oko or pe won pe o e was oko. And surprisingly, this is not the only, you know, there's another one. You say Pape Binso from, I stand to be corrected, from, is it the northern region or the Volta region? You see one non so ako Supreme Court one non so Eka say Mahama is eligible for a third term na wonko. But Ken Crunchy die na bede bremo first. Ken Crunchy ede Mahama ako Supreme Court award say Mahama e was say woko or you eligible into the Supreme Court and declare. This is very interesting. I knew someone personally, I know no so ya na adwin say na nkobeko. Na say ni pakro no say ni America no Mahama yere ka trene say dabi. Ni pakro no ya na adwin say na nkoko Supreme Court. Ena Mahama yere ka trene say dabi eni kwan so woko. You read the Ken Crunchy Semwa Walker because this is quite interesting. And that was first time we have subscribing and click the notification bell on the so. We have the latest news via ba wonsa ebeka. Ebusian for this video is kindly sponsored by Tompot Travel and Tours. Na asempaba Mr. So pese uye juma ewo ye Germany a factory work. Tompot Travel and Tours epe Nkrofo 200. Omope 200 applicants edi omo akwa akoye juma ewo Germany. Na benefit ni accommodation, tickets, work permit, and then visa. Mr. Opese uko Germany koko ye factory work and now ni mobi afre Tompot Travel and Tour 054 94 98 613. Mebo number ni subium 054 94 98 613. Na ofre wamwa na watro mo se ufri melodies. So when you bo mi din melodies pe. Ati asiye obema preferential treatment. Into no Tompot no. Anyway, I say Ken Crunchy drags Mahama to Supreme Court. Argues president is eligible for a third term. Now, I say Ghanaian news editor and lawyer Kenneth Kwabena Eje Crunchy, also known as Ken Crunchy, has filed a writ at the Supreme Court seeking a definitive interpretation of the country's presidential term limit provisions. Also, the suit, filed on June 30th, 2026, was brought by Ken Crunchy and Bridget Bita Boabin of Besamhu Legal Consult, Kaswa, representing him. Also, the Attorney General, Dominic Ayini, was named as the sole defendant. The case refers to Article 66(2) of the 1992 Constitution, which limits a person to 2 terms as President of Ghana. Also, the plaintiff is asking the Supreme Court to interpret whether that provision applies only to 2 consecutive terms and whether substantial break between elected terms resets a person's eligibility count. In 2 years, someone can grant you work. Also, Constitution they say obinko 2 terms. Now, the Constitution did not indicate say 2 terms no 2 successive. Not just say okoye ekoya onye eligible and now say 2 terms. Say can the 2 successive there. Not just say Mahama eligible say also because ye hemwa His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, terms now were and yes successive. This is what Ken Kranchi is saying. I say specifically, the plaintiff is seeking 3 declarations from the court. First, that the 2-term presidential limit in Article 66(2) only takes effect upon the completion of 2 consecutive terms of 4 years each. As I'm saying, it was a court in declare say 2 terms are constitutional akano. It's just talking about consecutive. It is a nipakuna called consecutive there. Then the person has not gone for 2 terms. I say a declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 66(2), 2462, 11, 351, and 42 of the 1992 Constitution, the 2-term presidential limit in Article 66(2) is properly construed as imposing a prohibition on election to the office of President of Ghana only upon the completion of 2 consecutive terms of 4 years each, the writ stated. Second, that a substantial break of 1 4-year electoral cycle resets the eligibility count. Inti se break ebe mwa ebe reset no. Inti yesi ni bako nko for 2 term oko baako na afei obi ba behye mfimfin na osan super bioma ebe reset e was say a sha say a kind 2 terms ni biom. That's what he's saying. A declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 66(2), 2462, 11, 351, and 42 of the 1992 Constitution, a substantial break of 1 4-year electoral cycle of elected presidential service reset the eligibility count, the writ added. Third, that the prohibition in Article 66(2) is not engaged until a person has been elected to and has served 2 consecutive elected terms of 4 years each. A declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 66(2), 2462, 11, 351, and 42 of the 1992 Constitution, the prohibition in Article 66(2) is not engaged until a person has been elected to and has served 2 consecutive elected terms of 4 years each, the writ said. As if the court rules in favor of the plaintiff's interpretation, it could open the door for President Mahama, who served 2 terms from 2009 to 2017 before returning to power in January 2025 to contest a further term in office. And so, Enuni Kenneth Kwabena Eje Kranchi, and then it goes on and, saying what he's saying. Now, I don't want to be prejudicial, but I am thinking, I have a certain thought of what the the court will say, right? And I know you also know that. But yeah, this is this is quite interesting. Is this a setup? I don't understand. I mean, especially coming from, I don't know whether to address him as former NPP member or, but Ken Kranchi is a well-known. In fact, there was a point in time he stood as the now Opesa Wako Parliament, Emma NPP. He was a former parliamentarian, former MP aspirant on the ticket of NPP. So it's quite interesting that Ken Kranchi will be the one doing this. But
Ghana ni bia wutie me no book we eye asset ba ko a e wo se wo keep e wo fie to book we ma wo ho to ma wo ba to ma obi biara osombo e wo wabrabo mu wadanfo obi a opese odiye wabrabo mu bia no to sa book we your friend the Ghanaian investor na sa book we be trail different forms of investment a obetumi aye e wo Ghana ha licensed investments. The first one is a emergency fund. Book we bet show send you set up emergency fund. Abrabo aye boy bibia betumi ato. If you have an emergency fund, a beba na ba be save you. Oka betumi asay wo kwan so. Obetumi ayare, oba betumi ayare. Nini na emergency fund no ebe take control of all those situations. Book no besan so atrewa ade bia ye fe endowment fund. A obetumi dia protect wo ho any future. Na sa endowment fund no nyame mpengu okokonya accident na untumi nye adwuma bioma it will take care of you for the rest of your life. Book no besan so atrel send ya obe set up a personal pension fund. Nkrofo bebre eye adwuma wie ekọ retirement omukọ retirement we are no mo ho aba betwe omo o set up a personal pension fund. That will not be your case. Most importantly, book we betray how to invest in the Ghana Stock Exchange. Now Ghana Stock Exchange investment, basically, it means you are buying ownership of Ghanaian companies. Now Ghana Stock Exchange, it is one of the best performing markets in the whole world. A lot of people are making money from the Ghana Stock Exchange, but they don't know how to invest in it. Book we betray us idea. Your investment be why your friend mutual fund. Book we betray how to invest in a mutual fund. Now mutual fund, you don't need to be rich to invest in a mutual fund. I remember an example. You find say wa woba fresh. Now what per license mutual fund Ghana has say opese odi usikashim. Say to me invest 500 cedis every single month. A Ghanaian mutual fund moi. By the time I will be 19 years now I done a millionaire. You find say wa CB we did 10. Opese that chibi odi every month for 500 cedis a mutual fund mu emano. By the time I will bano and I will fast no obedi 29 years no na oye millionaire. Wankasa wutie me we di 40. Now so wosha unye investment bia eno ane say obeye mutual fund every month for 500 cedis a shame. By the time obedi 59 years no na wenya 1 million Ghana cedis. Into mutual fund no, that is how it works. Small money every single month. By the time embre ebebano nesikano ayekese book we betro sanya mani na sa ope book no ni PDF anase ni twi video a free anase WhatsApp number na ewo book ni so sisia na sa we Ghana ni na wa brochure na ope hard copy of the book a very simple call Amazon na search for the Ghanaian investor place the order bibia obi I be ship e dia bro medase.